Greetings, fellow anime fans. Just a little bit left to 1,000 subscribers. Support the channel by subscribing and we'll get started. The anime begins with a girl chasing a cat who has stolen a piece of jewelry. While the point is being made, the girl gets off and falls with the cat. They are caught by the guy who was watching them. The girl thanked him and wanted to run away, but the guy held her back. He gave her the jewelry that was in the kitty's mouth. Then he took her to the store to buy a hat, because on this island they don't like those who don't have horns or fangs. He wants to take her to the ferry, but she asked for a favor and to take her somewhere else. She wanted to go to the observation deck. After wandering around the city, they arrived at the spot. The girl thanks him for bringing her here. She had seen views from the islands that were much higher than this, but she had never seen views so low. Now she has done what she wanted and can move on without regrets. The military came for the girl, and she asks for one last request, to forget that they had ever met. In the evening, Willem, the boy's name, came to his acquaintance. He offered him a job from the military, no special skills needed there, so an easy job. But Willem refused, he wasn't interested. A comrade tries to change his mind, because he is like a walking corpse that wanders around without any purpose. By doing this job he will get so much money that he can start a new life. Willem finally agrees, he wonders what he will have to do. The comrade answers that he will be the caretaker of a special weapons depot. When he arrived he was greeted warmly by the girl. She waved her wooden sword and tried to hit it, only she failed. In the process, she almost fell into the water. And Willem, like a true gentleman, sacrificed himself, and in gratitude received a sword to the head. So remember, when you do good, be prepared to get punched in the face. A girl to whom Willem has given a tour comes to the noise. She asks what he is doing here, and he answers that he has the same question. Once settled in his new place, a local maid came to see him. She turned out to be an old acquaintance of William's, whom he disliked, for good reason. After all, she wanted him, but not in the sexual sense, but in the nutritional sense. You may ask why a nice girl would eat a guy. It's very simple, she's not a human being, she's a troll. After a quick tour, he asks what he has to do, she says he doesn't have to do anything. He says he has to watch over some weapons, but it doesn't look like a warehouse, so what weapons does he have to guard? She says they'll discuss it later, since even walls have ears. The girls were eavesdropping, the maid sent them to bed or she'd eat them. Do you think they listened to her? Of course not. A little later they also broke into William's room. He got to know the kids and answered all their questions, and he generally got along with them. They chatted until they were sent to bed by Katori. William asked her what kind of weapons he had to watch for and why there were children in a military facility. She asks him if he came here without knowing that, and answers that the answer to both questions is the same, they are these special weapons. This puzzled him greatly. The maid introduced him to the children, but most of the girls were afraid of him. He could not approach them, and if he said hello to them, they would hide. Then he came up with an idea to bake sweets and treat them. The girls liked it and the result exceeded all expectations. William got along with the kids, but he seemed to have forgotten that they were weapons. But soon he was reminded of this by the situation that happened next. The children were playing with a sword and one of the girls fell off a cliff, an unpleasant incident, but he was surprised that this girl did not care as much as her friends. She went back to play as if nothing had happened. In the evening, the maid says that if he learns the truth, perhaps his attitude towards children will change. 500 years ago people created beasts as weapons, but they turned against them and with great speed destroyed all living things, including mankind. These beasts periodically attack the flying islands, so how can they defend themselves against such a threat? She showed him the swords, and William recognized them as the weapons of heroes, which can only be used by the chosen people. The maid explains that to use these swords leprechauns were created, fairies who can use these weapons like humans. And they were created without fear of death. William decided to meet Katori from the mission. He thought that the power of swords depends on the will to live of the wielder. The less will to live the more powerful it will be, so that like an explosion it can destroy its enemy and owner. Naturally, these fairies are perfect for these swords. When they meet the girls, Issei says they're fine, but Katori's just exhausted. She says since he's here, he already knows about them. Doesn't he care that they're a bargaining chip in the war? William replies that he knows people in the same position, so he can't stay away. Katori woke up in the infirmary with William watching her. She said that she didn't need care because she didn't have much time left. William asked what she was talking about. Katori says that after hundreds of years of fighting they can already foresee the attack of the beasts, and soon a strong beast will attack, which can only be destroyed by blowing itself up. She asks for a kiss, because she wants to have warm memories before she dies and leave a mark on something in someone's heart, to leave with no regrets. William, like a true gentleman, refused her. But in return, he decided. Whoa, calm down, it's just a massage. She got binenium poisoning from using the sword, and the massage removes it from her system. After that, William's with Nephilim all night.
FBI, open up!
No, they were just going through documentation. The next morning, Katori's fatigue was gone. The girls who came to check on her noticed it. She asked them where William was and they said he was sleeping with Nephilim. Such a statement she could not ignore. She came to check on what they'd been doing all night. William says they were gathering information on the enemy so she wouldn't have to blow herself up. Katori says who is he to tell them how to fight, he in turn offers to do the training.
I won't fight you.
Yo mama's so old she still owes Jesus $3.
Okay, this is war. Wait, we don't have mothers.
William explains that these swords are not only good for offense, but also for defense. They use the power of the enemy's attack against him, and the stronger the enemy, the more powerful these swords are. That's why their method of fighting beasts is wrong. But Katori can't accept this, because to agree with him would mean all their sacrifices have been in vain. But William continues that if she learns how to use the weapons correctly, then she will be able to return alive. After such a training, William got bad and caught a flashback about how he defeated the last enemy, but also fell under the curse. Meanwhile, the maid tells the girls who William really is. During one expedition they came across a frozen lake and found him there. He was under the effects of the petrification curse. Awakening was problematic, but eventually they figured out who he was, the last survivor of the human race. When she learns the truth about him, she asks not to be afraid of him, but the children rush to him because it has awakened their interest in him as if he were a curiosity. And Katori flew away to think about it. When she returned, she met William, who was adjusting the sword. He explains that the swords have been assembled from many talismans, some to help with colds, and others to help prevent burning your tongue with a hot drink. But together they form a powerful artifact. She asks if she will really be stronger. William says that if not, he will make her stronger. If she comes back from her next mission, he will grant her any wish, within reason of course. She then asks him to bake her some sweets. Katori went on a mission, while William took one of the girls for a medical checkup. It was because she had a dream. Every fairy has the ability to use ancient weapons, but not every fairy can use them. And those who have the dream are able to awaken it. Their bodies are tuned so they can fight as adult fairies. William is told that she will stay overnight, and in the morning they will do the tuning, after which he can take her away. The girl is happy that she will become an adult, and William is worried that she is just being made into a weapon. The next day William decided to go for a walk while he waited for the adjustment to be completed, but the weather, in the best traditions, was not favorable to it, but it didn't stop him. While walking he bumped into a woman and held her by the waist so she wouldn't fall, even though she said it was all right. But you could tell by the look on her face that she wasn't, because lycanthropes save their bellies for their lovers. Bro will confirm.
Stop it! No! There's a good boy. Doesn't that feel nice?
She was looking for a lizard she knew, but Willem told her he was on a mission. He doesn't know when he'll be back. As the commotion began, Willem asked what was wrong and was told that the island's defenses had fallen. He was shaken by this news, but he was not allowed to be sad for long, because Katori and the girls were unharmed. They were discussing the need to make themselves known that they were all right. When he saw them, he rushed toward them at breakneck speed and hugged Katori. It took her a long time to free herself from his embrace, but as soon as he let her go, she gently hinted to him that it embarrassed her. The girls tell what happened to them on the island. They were fighting monsters. The battlefield was under control until a new and unknown type of enemy appeared. Since they didn't know how to fight it or how to defeat it, the commander made the decision to accept defeat and retreat. Katori laments that she didn't blow herself up and they lost. She is consoled that if she had, they would not have won and the sacrifice would have been in vain. The conversation is interrupted by a woman William had encountered not long before, who asks the lizard for help, because her father is being threatened. He is the mayor of the city and is trying to establish a policy of equal rights for all races, but there are some disgruntled people who want to stop it. The lizard says he can't help and asks William for help, but he also refuses as he is not going to play the hero and has his own responsibilities. The lizard sees him for the second time and says he doesn't know if he can be trusted, but he says he's counting on him. He's sneaky, just trying to blame the job on someone else, even if it's the first person he sees. But it was enough for her to pester William for help. He went to pick up the girl from her medical checkup, but the mayor's daughter went with them and on the way told them how terrible the organization that threatens her father is. William says that his unit only protects against external threats, not internal ones. It's not in his jurisdiction. After picking up the girl from her medical checkup, they smelled meat and decided to have a snack. The lady decided to change her approach. She said that this shop adds a lot of spices, probably to cover up the smell of stale meat. She knows a place that serves great meat and drags William along with her. After lunch, the lady showed the city and the local sights, mostly the ones from the movies. Sensing that they were being followed, William asked to see the landmark in a deserted place. As soon as she brought them there, they were surrounded by the same group that threatened the mayor. They wanted to capture the mayor's daughter so they could pressure him. As soon as they attacked, William started shooting them off his finger.
Headshot. Double kill. Triple kill!
One by one, he took out the attacker until there was only one gang leader left. Actually, the finger shooting was a distraction. He was attacking them with coins at great speed. William said he felt they were being followed and so he asked them to take them to a secluded place. He decided to intervene because the girls liked the town and he wanted to protect it, and the lady played the role of bait. And in the best tradition, as soon as the mess was over, the cops came. The lady thanked him for his help and reminded him for touching her belly. That's gratitude. Going to the port, Katori says that he doesn't need to be so reckless. Now the battle is their task, not his. William replies that before he met her he had no motivation to live and only dreamed of dying and seeing his loved ones who are no longer there. Now that she's back, he's a little happier. As they approached the harbor, they were met by an officer who said everything was as reported. A tall, black-haired freak with a thing for little girls. He asks him to follow him, but William refuses. But when he heard the name of the magician, the officer said he couldn't just walk away. Katori was very upset that he was leaving them, but he promised her that he would be back soon. The sage was told that the man he was looking for had arrived. The magician wanted to look at the rogue who calls himself William and supposedly knows how to customize swords. But when he saw him, he was shocked. After all, he had been in a group with him more than 5 centuries ago. William told him his story, and it became clear to the magician why he couldn't find him then. His spell would find anyone alive on the planet, but since he was turned to stone his heart did not beat. The magician says that he also died in that battle.
Were you killed? Sadly, yes. But I lived.
And when dying he cursed himself, and now he is not in danger of dying from wounds or old age, so technically he is no longer human. Before leaving, the mage wanted him to meet someone else on the other island. When they arrived, they were met by the Skull, who turned out to be the same villain William had defeated before he was petrified. The Skull said that their paths had crossed again and he would fight the hero again.
Finally, a worthy opponent. Our battle will be legendary.
But William was not interested. He asks, where is his body? Skull replies that after the battle with him, it takes all his power to maintain this form and there is no way to restore the body back. The magician says that after the beasts appeared, he lifted pieces of earth into the sky to hide from them. And so they still float in the sky. William wonders where the beasts came from. The magician says that the cult is to blame for experimenting with living weapons, and as a result the beasts have destroyed everything on the planet. It's really the mage's fault, he's just afraid to admit it. The sage asks if he wants to take the land back, because they can do it with him. There was a problem in the shortage of suitable swords, but with a man who knows how to maintain them now it is solved, and battle fairies he can provide as many as he wants. William realizes who makes the fairies. The sage explains that with the help of necromancy he creates fairies from the wandering souls of children who have not realized their death. And they have a very short lifespan, and if they produce a lot of vinenium in battle, their minds begin to crumble and their personalities are erased. William is adamantly opposed to their scheme and will not participate. The wise man asks if he cares more about the fairies, who are already destined to die, than the fate of the whole world. He replies that he cares more about the fairies and that all he wants now is to return to them as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Katori and the girls fought the monster again. In the battle, her visions that had happened before intensified. But she tried her best to return home to William. And remembering his training, she used the monster's power against him and defeated him. When she got home, she got really sick. She was hallucinating and finally had a seizure. Back home, William rushed to Katori, but it was too late. The girl said she should have died on the battlefield, but she decided to keep her promise. William laments that she did everything she could to get back. And he never said welcome back to her. This is the end for now. Write in the comments whether you expect me to continue. For those who want to watch the anime further, the title will be found in the description, and we stopped at the 6th series 19th minute. I left a couple of minutes for the next part for intrigue. Yeah, I'm such a rascal. Don't forget about likes and comments, it's like oxygen for the channel. And I'm not saying goodbye, see you soon.